All right, what's going on, everyone? I've been seeing on my feed. Look, let me first give this disclaimer really quick. I do not follow wrestling like I used to, not even close. I don't particularly like wrestling much anymore. Um, I don't like the sports entertainment that it's become. I'm not a big fan of the WWE product. And while I've given AEW a chance, I just can't really give it much more of my time. Right? Like I just can't. But one thing I've kind of followed a little bit is a CM Punk comeback and his run so far in AEW. A couple of things about Punk. First of all, when I look at CM Punk, I see a talented wrestler, someone who knows how to work. And I consider myself a fan of CM Punk at one point. He was never my favorite, though. And I think most wrestling fans, I'm not saying no one considers him their favorite, but very few considered CM Punk their favorite wrestler. And see, that's the problem with CM Punk. CM Punk always wanted to be the man. He always wanted to be the Hulk Hogan, the Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Rock, um, the Bruno Sammartino, the Bret Hart, the Shawn Michaels of his era. He always wanted to be that guy. He always wanted to be the dude. Always. But he never was. And frankly, he never will be. That's just the reality. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just stating that that's what he wants. And that's how he saw himself. That's why he was upset over things that honestly, I don't understand why he was upset over. Let's kind of go down the line, right? I saw this is interviews before he even came back. He was not happy with the fact that he didn't get to headline and be the main event of WrestleMania. And it bothers him. He had a match with Chris Jericho. It was in the middle of the card, even though it was for the WWE title. And the reason the match was in the middle of the card, I believe this was when The Rock wrestled John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania. Right? That bothers him, like, for whatever reason. But that WrestleMania did over 1 million buys because The Rock was on it. You're not going to be in the main event. You just weren't that dude like that. You didn't draw like that. You didn't get attention like that. You were never that dude. Like that's just a reality. That's the fact of life. CM Punk was mad, even though he had this long title reign, that he had to drop the belt to Dwayne Johnson. Again, we're talking about The Rock. Well, you had to lose the belt at some point. This was the main event of, I forget if it was the Elimination Chamber or the Royal Rumble or whatnot. I think the rematch was at the Royal Elimination Chamber, but boo-hoo, you had to lose. Oh, because a part-timer came in and he beat me. Look, it's not like they didn't have this dude lose to some random movie star. Like, they didn't have him like get slapped by Will Smith and pinned 1, 2, 3. Okay, he lost to The Rock. one of the biggest names and biggest icons in the history of the business, who had just done over 1 million buys at the WrestleMania before that. Who was going to put John Cena over at WrestleMania? I mean, we could cry over spilled milk. Like, you could do whatever you want, but like, numbers are numbers, right? Reality is reality. You could tell me it's unfair all you want. The fact that The Rock was putting time aside, The Rock lost millions of dollars getting injured at WrestleMania, the WrestleMania before that, because he couldn't go to the studio, but he was still giving his time to come back, to help the product, to help elevate it as far as, viewership, because frankly, you just weren't bringing in the viewership. That's just the truth. He could blame everybody he wants. Oh, because they held me back and this. Dude, you were the world champion for over a year. Give me a break. All right? Just give me a break. And he felt some type of way about it. So what do? They put him in the ring with The Undertaker. And I've never heard somebody be so ungrateful about sharing the ring with The Undertaker at WrestleMania in my life, like I heard CM Punk in an interview before. I think he was talking to Cole Cabana. Oh, they put me in there with The Undertaker, and I couldn't even break his streak. Like such a little, pun intended, punk that he is. So you don't get to beat The Undertaker, and you don't get to end the streak. You're mad about it. They put him in the ring with Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. And he's mad that he doesn't get to beat Brock Lesnar. They had me lose to Brock. Like, if anybody would believe that you could beat Brock Lesnar, sit the fuck down. Ungrateful about sharing the ring with an icon of the business like The Undertaker. Everyone else talks about their matches with The Undertaker, like Shawn Michaels is proud that he shared the ring with them, Edge, Batista. I mean, this is crazy. It is crazy. So anyway, what's going on, Bruce Goes? Bruce Gas. Fast forward, the dude tries UFC. He's delusional. When he was going to fight Mickey Gall, he was calling the guys Mickey Gall beat bums, and he had all types of shit to say, even though one of those guys ended up beating the shit out of him. But later on, look, man, I don't want to get on him too much about his run in UFC. I do think he was a little delusional. I think he really did believe in that whole, like, if you believe in yourself, you could do anything. And he was just an older guy that took up MMA a little too late, and he wanted to jump to the big leagues just like that. And he did it because of his name, the name that he built in WWE. If CM Punk had never gone to WWE, and I'm going to talk more about this in a little bit, if CM Punk had never gone to WWE, he never gets that opportunity to just fight in the co-main event of a fucking UFC card. And he doesn't get that sweet little deal he got in AEW. The dude was delusional. I'm sorry. But he went on, just became like a hardcore hockey fan for a while. He did the right thing. Bro, you're too old, brother. Like, you were just too old to pick up a sport like MMA, especially in the UFC level. And it is what it is. No shame in that. I don't want to get on too much about that. And then rumors start circulating, and it comes true. CM Punk returns to wrestling. After 7-8 years away from the business, CM Punk signs on a dotted line. He signs a very, very lucrative deal with AEW. He brags about how he was in talks with Tony Khan, and he brags about how, hey, I knew my worth and I was going to make sure I got paid. Nothing wrong with that, but let's be honest. In that same press conference, this dude's talking about how he don't give a fuck about, like, or that he wished he never was in WWE, that it was the worst time of his life, and that he hated it. And at that point, I knew this was a dude who was vindictive and he had a vendetta. This whole AEW run is about getting revenge on the WWE. That's what it's about. The whole thing. That's everything about it. Every moment, he likes to brag about how, oh, it's fun here. It wasn't fun there. Here, they let me be myself, not over there. I mean, I'm going to tell you what that means in a little bit. I'll translate it for you. But before I do that, the fact of the matter is, the reason CM Punk, the reason people were talking about, oh, he's been away from the ring for 7 years and he's coming back, and the reason he got the big lucrative deal from Khan, the reason he got the big contract, the big money contract, the reason he got all those things, the reason CM Punk got all that was because of his run in WWE. The run he says he wished he never had. The run he says he would have been better off without. He's so full of shit. If CM Punk was just another dude, okay, in fucking Ring of Honor, he would not have been offered the lucrative deal he was offered. He got that because of his run in WWE. Period. No different than Chris Jericho. No different than any other fucking WWE former employee. Point blank. And look, I'm not here to say that WWE used him correctly all the time. I'm not here to say WWE does right by individuals. WWE has its own problems. There's a reason I stopped watching it. And it has a lot of issues that needs to resolve. But the fact of the matter is, CM Punk is still being a fucking crybaby. What's up, El Chido? He quit because he didn't want to lose the old Rock. Yeah, he didn't want to lose to the Rock. And then he got mad that he had to put the Undertaker over at WrestleMania. He didn't get to break the streak. He was butthurt about that. And then he had to lose to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania at a fucking SummerSlam. And he was just pissed off about it. He was mad about these things. Like, bro, you're a mark for yourself, dude. As somebody put earlier, I just want to let you know wrestling's fake. Well, apparently CM Punk doesn't know that. CM Punk is a mark for his fucking self. And we know he is. He was such a mark for himself, he thought he'd go to UFC and fuck shit up. Like Bad Hombre said, the dude was talking about a couple of fights and he could like take over or whatever. Yeah, that's another thing. He hated that he had to put Triple H over. Like, you should have put me over. Why didn't you should have done the right thing? And like, dude, it's not real. Do people understand that? What about, like, who have you put over? CM Punk? That you've been since he's been back on AEW, he's been kicking out of dudes' finishers. He's been the man. They made him champion. He's that dude. That's why he says it's better. Of course you're going to say it's better because your mark ass is winning all the matches. Of course it's better because you get to be the champion. You get to be the man. And you get to have your little press conferences and still talk. You still talk about WWE. Oh, it's better over here. They let me be myself over here. They don't let me be myself over there. Over there, had to put the Undertaker over at WrestleMania. Okay, they let me beat Brock Lesnar over there. Over here, they let me beat everybody. They let me beat myself. That's what you're saying, you fucking mark. The dude's a mark for himself. Who complains about that? You have to put Brock Lesnar over at SummerSlam. Who complains about that? Who complains about having to put The Undertaker over at the time when The Undertaker was undefeated at WrestleMania? One of the greatest icons, okay? There is no WWE without the fucking Undertaker. But you want to complain. Like, oh, I have to put him over. Oh, they didn't want to give me anything. Like what? Get the fuck out of here. Yo, Undertaker worked with this dude. So, I mean, they worked on a storyline. He let him talk shit about a Paul Bear that passed away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is crazy. But the dude's pissed off about it because he didn't get to win. Oh, you didn't get to. You wanted to be the guy. That's what you wanted up. You wanted to be the dude that broke the streak, right? In hindsight, they make the right decision, you motherfucker. Because what you do for what? So you could still complain? So you could still bitch and moan about it, or what? So you could still go over to fucking, like AEW? Imagine this dude was the guy that broke the streak and is in AEW talking about a WWE and shit, and AEW is better because they let me win all the matches here. I'm the man over here. They let me win everything over here. Like, dude, you're a mark, bro. You're a mark. That's what you are. I'm just saying. In wrestling, I'm not saying I get it. Look, traditions get broken. I get it. But in wrestling tradition, all right, the right thing to do when you're a former wrestler, like a big name from another company, the right thing to do in most cases is to put over the talent in your new company. And then you have like a story arc because you want to sell that company as, hey, this is the best talents over here. Right. And then you have a story arc and you eventually, make it big or whatever. Right. Like that's just, but that's whatever. CM Punk is a fucking mark for himself. It's what he is. All right. The Dawn in the building. How's it going? Battle, I don't mind him either. But he does believe he's better than what he is. And then now, I mean, he was botching. I saw that match. He was botching a bunch of the moves. Shit's crazy. The right thing to have done is for CM Punk to have a redemption story. But CM Punk's ego is too big to have a redemption story. CM Punk should have lost his first run at the title. He should have lost somewhere along the way, put over some guys to sell like, yo, AEW is elite. CM Punk's a former WWE champ. He's having a hard time with the elites over here. No, that's not what they did. Instead, CM Punk gets to come over. CM Punk gets to beat everybody. He gets a kick out of finishers multiple times, which is a problem with this fucking wrestling business nowadays. Everybody kicks out of finishers, so I don't even know why they call them finishers anymore. Okay? And then it's the little stupid press conferences they do. He's still talking about WWE. Over here, they let me be myself. I get to win all the time. I get to be the man. Because I'm supposed to be the man. CM Punk wants to be the dude, okay? Like he was a heel in WWE and he wanted to dominate. Like get the fuck out of here, bro. You're supposed to be putting the faces over. You're supposed to cheat to win when you're a heel. Especially a scrawny little dude like you. I look at you, you're supposed to play the cowardly heel. You're not exactly Brock Lesnar, bro. Now, I know a lot of people going, oh, DStyle, you're throwing shade at him. What do you mean he has to play the cowardly heel? Yeah, that's what Ric Flair did. Ric Flair's a fucking legend. Ric Flair had the cowardly heel down to a T. He knew how to do it. That's why people hated him. He got heat that way. CM Punk wanted to be the badass. He wanted to be a heel, but he wanted to be a badass. He wanted to be Stone Cold. You ain't Stone Cold, brother. You never will be. You don't captivate an audience like Stone Cold. You don't demand attention like a Stone Cold. You don't have catchphrases like a Stone Cold. You're not iconic like a Stone Cold. You don't sell merch like a Stone Cold. Okay, you don't get ratings like fucking Stone Cold. Stone Cold had fucking that dude had like 10 million people watching him, bruh. Who the fuck's watching you? The Wolfpack, like the Don says, used to get ratings. 7 million people. Who the fuck's watching CM Punk? CM Punk is a fucking mark for himself. What type of a dude sits on a fucking podium and says, after they give him the title, right? They give him the biggest push that anybody could get. He becomes world champion. He's beating everybody in his path. He's kicking out of everybody's finishers. He gets to beat everybody. He gets to win the championship, and he sits there. Yeah, it's better here because here they let you be yourself. Over here, yeah, you get to win all your matches. Is what you're trying to say. And look, in no way, believe me when I say I'm no fan of WWE. If you were to ask me, hey, do you think they did the best they could with Punk? My answer would be no. They did not. Oh, but this style, that's what Punk is saying. No, that's not what Punk is saying at all. Okay? Punk, while he does have a point about his injuries, I do think Ryback was reckless to work with. He's not wrong about everything. He's not. But as far as like complaining and bitching that he didn't get to break the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak, like who the fuck are you, bro? You know how many bigger names the Undertaker wrestled at WrestleMania that put him over? But you think you're the dude to break the streak? I don't even think Lesnar should have broken the streak. But if anybody was going to do it, it should have been him. He's mad that he had to put fucking Brock Lesnar over at SummerSlam. He's mad that he had to put over The Rock. Like, who the fuck are you to be mad about that, dude? When you're doing the same shit to the AEW guys that The Rock did to you, it's the same shit. Like, did you have to kick out of that dude's finisher like 4 or 5 times? Or whatever ridiculous amount of times you did? Did you have to do that? You're A-siding dudes in AEW because of the name you built in WWE, and you push yourself to get that fucking belt. That's no different to what the fucking Rock did. But at least The Rock had a million pay-per-view buys to show for it at WrestleMania. At least there was a big ratings bump at Raw when The Rock would show up, right? Social media interactive would go off through the roof. You got nothing to show for it. I remember that until they made China the champ. That shit was so stupid. What's going on, Red Glove Milton? How you doing, brother? Bill Haney in the building. Bill Haney, come on. Oh man. Imagine it's a real Bill Haney. I'll be all tripped out. It's like watching this random CM Punk video. But whoever that is, or maybe your name is Bill. I don't know, but I'm glad Punk's such a big name in Japan. Yes, CM Punk. Oh yeah, he promotes a sober life and cutting edge, or what the fuck he calls it. Come on. Yeah, brother, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Shout out to Red Gloved Militant. Hey, look, even when he joined WWE, like, dude, like this guy, like WWE lives in this dude's head, right? He brings him up at the press conferences and like, oh, I just think that here, you know, what I love about this company, they just let me be myself. Like, yeah, dude. That's so easy to say, right? When like you're A-siding the fuck out of everybody and they all got to put you over. You get to kick out of their finishers and you get to beat them clean and you get to become champion. And it's easy to say that, dude. And I don't think it was the right move to make this guy champion. I don't. The former WWE guys are getting big contracts. Are supposed to be putting over the raw farming system talent of AEW. That's the right thing to do. Okay? That's what you're supposed to do. When Bret Hart, you know, look, I'm not going to bring him up because they fucked his whole thing over. But, like, CM Punk has created no buzz, like, in my opinion. And look at the contrast between CM Punk and Daniel Bryan or Brian Danielson, whatever they call him. Look at the contrast. Like Bryan doesn't say anything negative about WWE. He said he enjoyed his time there, but he just wanted to do something different, and that's it. And in my opinion, that dude, all right, is putting in more of the work than CM Punk. That dude has a bigger claim to become a world champion than CM Punk. That guy was in the main event of WrestleMania. He's not bitching and crying about how he had to put over, Roman Reigns. You say, oh, they made me put over Roman Reigns, and I think it's a bunch of bullshit. No, like Daniel Bryan is not a mark for himself. He put over Kobe Kingston at WrestleMania, which was the right thing to do. Okay, he had to put over Triple H before that WrestleMania at one point, but guess what? Triple H gave him back, the win. Okay, they had him become champion. Whatever, but you don't see him bitching and crying about it. You just don't. I'm not saying you have to be happy with the way everything went. Yeah, WWE fucks up a lot. But this dude is such a punk. Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm just not impressed with him, bro. Like, I just think this whole thing is about, when a guy breaks up with a girl, then he starts dating somebody she knows, and he doesn't really give a fuck about her, but he's just doing it because he wants to piss off that other girl. Like, that's CM Punk. All right, that's what he's doing right now. He just wants to show Vince that you made a mistake, Vince. You see, look at me. Okay, now you're the champ. All right, cool. Okay, what are you gonna do now? Since you are who you say you are, right? That means AEW's ratings should be like fucking going through the roof now. You should be turning the tide. I mean, I'm talking some crazy shit, right? I mean, pretty soon you should be beating WWE in the ratings. I mean, I'm guessing. Otherwise, what are you proving? You're not proving anything. Somebody said CM Chump. So that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to get that off my chest. I'll keep keeping some eye on what's going on with CM Punk. MJF, I don't know if that promo was a work or not. For those that haven't seen it, check it out. He did it on the 1st. I don't know how to feel about that promo. I don't know if the promo was all show or if it was a work. But that's what wrestling is missing nowadays, making people guess and wonder if something's real or not. All right? That's what wrestling is missing. They're missing that element, and at the very least, he's bringing it back. So, with that said, I'm out. Have a good day, everybody. Peace out.